Mark.
Yeah, my story is probably similar to anybody during the fur boom. Kid, our age, 1975. A buddy of mine, Rod Berdanovich, Serbian boy from Ohio, called me up and said, "Hey, I caught a mink in a trap." I go, "What do you mean you caught a mink in a trap? I didn't know you did this." And he said, "Well, me and my dad found a trap and we set it on a log crossing out in the creek behind our house." I said, so I got on my bike and rode over there, had to see it. And even at that age, even, as a 11-year-old kid, I knew that it wasn't a mink. I knew it was a weasel. It had a white belly. And I said, "This isn't a mink, it's a weasel." But it was still cool. And unbelievably, caught it on a number 3 Victor jump beaver trap, He set it on a log, notched out it and put some moss around and caught it. So the first catch was really his. So then I was a poor kid from Ohio, didn't have any money, so I went down to the hardware store and bought a couple traps, 110 conibear, and I think a couple of number 1 long springs like everybody did. And I went out that fall and tried to catch a few of all those things and didn't catch any. I was doing stuff that probably shouldn't have been doing, catching rabbits and squirrels and stuff, but my muskrat trapping was not that great. So, you remember certain things. And January 30th, 1976, I caught my first muskrat. And it was, a 110 conibear in a slow mowing ditch, but even then at that age, wrongly, I was afraid of traps, not because I thought they were cruel, because I wasn't strong enough to set them. And I've told this story before, but my older brother Michael, I used to have him set the 110 conibears for me at the house. And then I'd carry him down into the woods or creek set. And if it set off, I had to run back to the house. And it happened enough times, I said, I better learn how to set these things. And I think a lot of it in hindsight was, I didn't take the grease off them. I didn't know any better. They were.
They had a photo of him.
Right. Carried a 110 conibear. So fast forward, it's 1978. Again, October 21st, I could take you to the spot where I caught my first red fox in Ohio. Take you right to the spot. And it was the classic. I'd started to read. I got Fur Fishing Game, and I started to read a little bit. And it was the classic, the Victor square jaw, the ultimate fox trap, angle iron stake, dirt hole. Really basic. I might have been using Hob Baker's Ready Red. I'm sorry. I didn't know any better. I was new.
Number 2 was a lot better.
All right, well, that one worked for fox number 1, but. And then I think that fox really triggered something. I always wanted to be a canine guy, and I used to lay in bed and read the Trapper magazine when it was this thick. Ray Milligan and all those guys trapping out west, and oh man, coyotes and trapping in the Dakotas and red fox, those big numbers. That from an early age is what I wanted to do. The mink and beaver and raccoons, I didn't really care about that, So, and that's kind of where my path led me. And I moved to Pennsylvania and caught far more red fox in western Pennsylvania than I ever could have dreamed of in Ohio at the time. And there was no coyotes in Ohio when I was trapping them. Now they're all over the place. And then I was working for Federal Express out of college. I got transferred to New York, and in 1988 I caught my first coyote, and that was like, wow, I got Bigfoot. I got Osama bin Laden. And coyotes are that game. We're all after numbers of certain things, but for some reason coyotes still seem to be like a big game animal that have an aura about them. And I have people that come to me for help on trapping, and they've never trapped an animal in their life, and they want to start with coyotes, and that's almost always a disaster. We all started with mink and muskrats and coons and went to fox, then maybe coyotes were later, and it's a natural progression. But in New York, the first year I trapped there, I caught 14 coyotes, which was unbelievable, but I think I lost 30 of them in 1.5 quotes. I didn't have coyote traps. But there was a lot of coyotes there, and there was none in Pennsylvania where I trapped, and that started me down that path. And then I just became fascinated and obsessed with coyotes. So I take those barn pictures every year like John's, and I've never regretted it, because it adds a little bit of legitimacy to it. And as soon as people see this, like, I know John's a very good trapper, but I didn't know how good. I look around here and I know immediately. If you know anything about trapping, you see his barn pictures, it's like, wow. So I never regretted doing those pictures. People would make fun of you, and not everybody wants to take the time to do it. It's someday we're not going to be trapping anymore. We're going to be looking back at these pictures and be proud of them. And I'm damn proud of those pictures I have like yours, because
they're old-time pictures, like the old black and whites.
Yeah,
and that's what it reminds me of. But yeah,
and I bet you some of those big white-tailed deer, you have these pictures you never saw before, but you shot them. But you'll take 1 million pictures of them, right? But like Todd said earlier, there's no such thing as a lucky season trapping, and yeah, you get lucky with a deer, but these barn pictures and the ones I do, the ones Phil did, the ones Todd did, the ones that Russ used to do, there's no luck involved, and we should be proud of taking those pictures and looking back at them. And I'll never regret doing it. That's me in a nutshell.
Awesome. John.
Well, I'm afraid to say it. I just keep repeating everybody, but same deal. I was 10 or 11. I first started trapping in 1970. Started with the muskrats, but it was very, very popular when I was a boy. All my school buddies did it. Some of their fathers did it. It was just part of growing up. We all deer hunted. We all went and set our couple little traps. And I guess maybe when you did have a little more success than the other guy, it gave you that fuel to be the best at it and to keep going, and you're just hooked. It, like you say, it's in you or it isn't. But once you get a taste of it, you just keep rolling.